morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on After GMS. It is Friday, and it feels like the perfect Friday weather-wise. I'm Tracy McCain here with Christian Morgan and Megan Maleris. Hello to all of you.
Good morning, good morning.
Hello. It is a nice, crisp, refreshing morning. No rain in sight. The perfect weekend for App State football.
Yes, it is.
And football of any kind, really, because the high schools are playing tonight.
Yes.
Big Friday night sports action. Tomorrow it's all about colleges. So forecast has to agree with all of that.
Oh, and it will do that too. Feeling like fall again today, and that nice weather going to continue over the course of the weekend too. As you take a live look right now over the Piedmont, we do have clear skies, but notice that sunrise out over Truist Field at Wake Forest. Now it's a little hazy looking, and there's a little bit of haze in the sky this morning from those wildfires out west in California. It's pretty crazy, but the wind carries it all the way here to the Piedmont. So that's why we have a bit of a haze as you look out across the Piedmont this morning. High pressure still in control of our weather, will remain in control heading into the weekend. Keeps us high and dry, keeps the sunshine around, and will reinforce the nice weather that we've had and keeping it around going into the weekend and into next week. Now, I don't like to be the bearer of bad news here. Don't shoot the messenger, but it is going to get warmer again. Mid and upper 80s by the middle of next week, but the humidity will continue to behave, so it's not going to be all that sticky even though it's going to be warm. Humidity will hover in the upper 50s and low 60s for the next several days, right around that very comfortable range for the short-term forecast here. For today, it's all sunshine, low 80s and low humidity, perfect for high school football. We'll cool down into the 70s around game time tonight across the Piedmont. Weekend looks pretty good too. Cool mornings, nice afternoons, low 80s for your Saturday and Sunday, with, of course, no weather worries over the next couple days. Let's talk about what's going on down in the tropics. Kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? This is Tropical Storm Fiona, about 300 miles from the Leeward Islands. And you notice how all the wind is circulating right near the center of that storm. Where you're seeing all that wind come together is the center of low pressure, but the storm is very lopsided, as you see most of the storm activity on the west side of the center of the storm. So it's very disorganized at this point, still with 50-mile-per-hour winds. It'll continue heading west into the Caribbean islands over the course of the weekend, then over the Dominican Republic, and then at that point, a lot of disagreement on what the storm actually does. Does it say closer to the U.S. coast on the east coast? Does it head toward the Gulf of Mexico, or does it curve back out to sea? All of those are possibilities at this point. Here's the track from the National Hurricane Center officially. Notice as you go out in time into the middle of next week, all those solutions really diverge a lot. So all these areas I've shaded in yellow here, even the Gulf of Mexico, I don't think is totally out of the pay attention area, if you will. That just looks like the least likely scenario right now. Still most likely scenario is that it curves back out to sea, but a weaker storm would come a little closer to us on land, and a stronger storm would actually have a better opportunity of moving out to the ocean. So all of that to say, I'm not overly concerned about us in the Carolinas at this point. If that changes, of course, we'll keep you abreast of all the changes heading into early next week. Back at home, still no rain in my 7-day forecast. Nice through the weekend, getting a little bit warmer. Still not all that humid by the middle of next week.
Perfect.
Perfection.
I love it. I really wish we could, this is the carbon copy, forecast that you want, Control C. Control V, all the way down.
This is the one that we like to do that with, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And then temperatures are going to get warm again, so we're not out of that, heat yet.
We can still get very warm in September.
Yeah.
And I guess the good news is it's not going to be crazy humid.
Right.
The further that we go into September and October, the easier it is for us to get these longer periods of sustained fall weather. Like this is the longest one that we've had in a while.
Yeah.
Up until this point, they've come and gone within a day or two. Now they're sticking around a little while longer. So it's not going to be crazy humid. It's just going to get warm again.
What's difficult about this time of year from a getting dressed perspective is the really drastic difference between morning and afternoon. Sometimes a 30-degree spread. So even as the afternoons get even warmer next week, Christian, are the morning lows still going to be pretty chilly?
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. The drier the air is, the easier it is to cool it off. You can never cool it past the dew point.
Right.
But as the air is drier, when there's not as much moisture content in the air, it cools down a lot quicker. We get a whole lot more what we call radiational cooling. So that's what will be happening. So even though it's going to be warm, we'll still probably cool down into the upper 50s to around 60 at night, as opposed to being humid and mid 70s and then ending up close to 90 like we have been for a while. It's just so much drier air, it's easier to cool it off at night.
That makes sense.
Moisture, dry air doesn't hold as much heat.
Right. So now that you all know the science behind this gorgeous weekend of weather, now we want to know what you're doing to enjoy it. Get in on this conversation right now in the comment section. Let us know how you plan on spending your weekend, enjoying this nice, wonderful weekend. We'll start the conversation here at the table, but we certainly can't wait to read your responses. So mine is simple. My brother's birthday weekend, so I'm gonna get to see him. Again, he lives just 40 minutes away from me, but we don't get to see each other that often because we both have families and, you know, jobs, things that we're doing. So although we FaceTime like every day. I'm super close with my brother. We get to hang out with him, me and my husband, have a double date with he and his wife, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'll be great.
And then we have soccer. Oh yes, to him. Yeah. So then we have a soccer game on Saturday with Josiah, and then we have some birthday parties Saturday night with some of Simone's friends. So yeah, we just keep it busy.
Busy weekend.
Busy weekend.
What you make?
Well, we honestly have nothing on the calendar.
I love that.
I know.
It's a good feeling.
I'm so excited about it, but I have a list of things that I need to do, you know, laundry, dusting, mopping, vacuuming, get the kids new clothes. Yeah, a lot of things on the to-do list, but I'm really hoping for a nap. Mama just wants a nap. Just an hour or two, maybe this weekend.
I hear you.
Please, kids, be on the same schedule. Okay, we can only hope.
Make it happen.
Yes, or Dad is in charge, maybe for an afternoon. I know what you wish you could be doing.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
I'll be cheering on the Mountaineers, not in Boone this time though, because before all this craziness happened, our band already had a show booked, so we'll be down in Charleston this weekend. But I'll still be cheering on the Mountaineers because we don't play until about 8, and game time's at 3:30, so there's still plenty of time for me to watch the game.
Oh yeah.
The game will be over.
Now, if one of y'all would loan me like your personal helicopters, I could end up in Boone for the game and then just take a flight on down to Charleston.
Mr. Chilton's on standby.
Driver?
Right.
Yeah, I'll loan you a toy airplane.
Yeah, exactly.
That's been thrown across the room a couple times. Yeah. All right, we heard from Bobby, who's going to Mount Airy in the morning.
Nice.
We heard from Preston, who just commented about how crazy there's no rain for this foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Really a good weekend to do anything outside.
Sure.
Rhonda's going to Virginia for apples and making cider tomorrow.
Oh, that's
sounds
fun.
like fun.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then a couple people just hanging out, laying low, loving this weather, cleaning up the yard, says Walter. Melody's sitting at home.
That sounds so perfect. Just, you know, a weekend to just enjoy. I mean, you don't always have to have some crazy stuff going on. Sometimes it's just nice to sit back, be outside, and just enjoy. We went outside yesterday, and you know I don't like being outside. But we were outside yesterday for at least 90 minutes just enjoying the forecast just because it was just so nice.
It's beautiful. And I'm telling you what, there is nothing, it's just perfect in the morning and in the evening when the sun starts to set. It's still a little bit warm, you know, in the afternoon. Still very comfortable to be outside. But when the sun is coming up and when the sun is setting, it feels so good. And that's, you know, again, low humidity makes it easier to cool off a lot quicker. So now that the sunset is around 7:30 or just before, then once that sun starts to go down, you have that dry air. It gets cool pretty quickly.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to put a couple jackets, a little blanket for Elizabeth in our stroller last night as we went out for our evening walk, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw neighbors we had never seen before. They were just out enjoying it. They said, we just love this weather.
Yeah.
You have to do something outside. And it's
Gotta do
a
something
mood
to enjoy
changer,
it.
too.
Yeah.
Just, makes you feel good. Joanne has a church picnic. A great
That's
weekend
fun.
for
Really
that.
fun.
Yeah, it's a great day to do anything, really a weekend to do everything that you need to do, especially before it gets warm again next week or something else happens. We'll see.
All right, thanks for participating in this first conversation. We'll have a final check of our forecast coming up, but we do have some morning headlines to cover. Right now, Triad school districts are working to locate missing students from their rosters. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools says about 1,000 students failed to enroll or are chronically absent. The district is working with the organization Teach Tech U to help identify and locate those students. Alamein Burlington County School System has more than 200 students unaccounted for. Social workers and graduation coaches are currently working to get them back in school. We reached out to Guilford County Schools for a similar update and are waiting for that data.
Guilford County Schools is working on transportation, changing several routes and updating previous bus stop locations. Some parents say they are frustrated over the changes, though. The district recommends parents make sure they keep up with the routes on the Here's the Bus app and the transportation hotline. If you are having trouble getting someone on the phone, parents should call the school directly. U.S. formula supply finally starting to level after a lot of issues earlier this year with those shortages. Officials say store shelves are now about 80% full.
Quantity dropped severely when the large formula plant shut down in Michigan. It is now back open and expected to start shipping sometime next month. If you bought formula anytime from 2017 to now, you might be eligible for some lawsuit settlement money. Lawyers claim the company PBM Nutritionals, which manufactures the popular brand listed on your screen, used deceptive packaging and labeling, essentially saying the bottles could make X number of bottles with that formula when really the amount was arguably less. The company denies those allegations but is settling in order to avoid further distractions. If you bought any of the formulas listed on your screen, you could get up to $30 reimbursed. Keep in mind all purchases must have been between January 2017 and July 2022. For more information, find the story on our website.
Well, happening in our community today, a sacred gathering to honor the rich culture of Native Americans. Powwows bring people together to meet, dance, and honor this timeless tradition. WFMY News 2's ITN's McMiller takes you there before the powwow gets started today at 5.
The Triad's longest and oldest dance and music festival is back this weekend. The Guilford Native American Association is hosting their 45th annual powwow, and we are here at Country Park where it'll all take place. I'm joined by Perry Hunt. He is involved with the powwow. So first, just talk about what folks can expect when they come out this weekend.
This weekend you can expect drum groups. We have several drum groups from across North Carolina and the surrounding areas. This year our host drum is War Paint, and they're from southeastern North Carolina, Robeson County. You would also see many dance styles, traditional, fancy, grass dancers, and just, you know, the different dance categories, male and female have their own categories. You also see various vendors as well selling arts and crafts from their Native American cultures. Many vendors to choose from.
And I know that outside of folks being able to hear the sounds of you all's culture, this is about also paying homage to some Native Americans who served in the military.
Yes, ma'am. If you'll notice, any powwow across United States and Canada, we always pay tribute to our veterans who have served, both Native American and non-Native alike. Being a veteran is very close to my heart because Native Americans have served in every war and conflict that the United States has had, both foreign and domestic. And we also use, we'll be using this year the Native American Women Warriors. They're a group of veterans and active duty military that come out and do our honor guard, carry our flags. So they're a very special group to us.
Well, thank you for speaking with us this morning, and also thank you for your service. The powwow will begin tonight starting at 5 p.m. and will run throughout this weekend here at Country Park.
And right now excitement is brewing in Boone and here in our studio because App State's tomorrow football game, ESPN Game Day, a big deal. Here's a look at the College Game Day crew arriving in town yesterday. The Mountaineers facing off against the Troy Trojans after a huge upset win last week against Texas A&M. Look at all that black and yellow. App State and all of us here on the Good Morning Show are rooting for you. Roll-Neers.
Roll-Neers.
Love it.
Such a big deal for the university this weekend. College Game Day for the first time ever in history is there, and they were going somewhere else and changed course after the big win against Texas A&M last week.
Cool.
So this is kind of like, you know, everybody thinks back to the big Michigan win back in 2007. This is like now our modern day Michigan win.
Right.
Because at that point they were a number 5 school. A&M was a number 6 school last week.
Yeah.
So another top 10 win for the program, and there's a whole lot of excitement, not only at App and in Boone, but the entire state has kind of rallied rallied for App.
So what is their matchup against Troy look like?
So it's usually a pretty good matchup. It's a conference matchup for us. It's actually our first conference game of the season.
Okay.
And Troy usually always puts up a pretty good fight for us, whether at home or away. Now the last 4 meetups, I think, 4 or 5 meetups, App has won all 4.
Okay.
So my whole thing is like, this is a huge weekend, right? But I just don't want the hype to overtake. You know, and I want everything to get lost in the hype because we did that when Miami came to town a couple of years ago. You know, oh, Miami's coming to Boone, great, this is great. Everybody was so hyped up about it, and I think the hype was too much at that point.
Right.
So I hope that, you know, people are settled, that they are sound,
Right.
and the team is really focused on
Right,
that.
getting this
On the
win.
game,
Yeah. You don't want to beat a top 10 team one
No.
week and then lose against a conference rival the next week.
Right.
Although I'm sure there are some arguments for App State to maybe switch conferences
Yeah,
in
a
the
little
near
bit.
future.
A little bit. The Sun Belt, when App moved to the Sun Belt, at that point I think I was a sophomore, a freshman or a sophomore at App when they moved to the Sun Belt. And obviously, you know, that was a big change for us moving from the Southern Conference and moving up a league. The first year was a rebuilding year. You know, we didn't do that well. But ever since then, you know, we've gotten back to that tradition of winning. You know, App has a tradition of winning. Even though we have had a couple different coaches over the last several years, that tradition has continued. And now I think with Coach Sean Clark, he played for App. You know, he went to App, played for App. It runs in his blood. He was on the coaching staff there. That was ultimately the right move, I think, and that tradition carries over with him as well. So there's been a lot of talk about possibly switching conferences. The Sun Belt Conference has gotten a lot better now. I mean, JMU's joined the Sun Belt Conference. You know, we play them next week. But the Sun Belt Conference is a pretty strong conference. I think a lot of times it's kind of been swept under the rug. I think there's a lot of talk about trying to see if App could move to the ACC. I don't think we're ready for that. I like winning where we are, you know, and Sun Belt's proven to be a
Excuse
challenge
me.
in some cases.
Woo! That's for good luck.
Too much for Tracy. Let's talk about
It's for good luck.
Well, I know. Just one note here. I remember
Yeah.
when Mizzou, when I was there, we switched from the Big 12 to the SEC. A huge deal.
Huge.
And ESPN, College Game Day, came to campus, and it was great for everybody and for the entire university, for the entire city of Columbia, because it put a lot of eyes on the school.
Yeah.
And it showcased some of the architecture, some of the programs, the education opportunities. So it all had a really great impact. A huge deal that Game Day itself is coming to App.
Yeah, and the popularity for App has really grown even since I was a student. Just, you know, it's harder to get into App now than it was when I was getting in. You know, it's become a real challenge. You know, one of the bigger schools to get in now. So I'd like to see that continue, and just the excitement for App and for not only the football and the athletic programs there, but for the education there. It's really, really a great place to be.
Yeah. It also kind of takes the attention off the Panthers, who are on the road this Sunday. So
We'll worry about them later.
We are hoping for great outcomes for all of our North Carolina teams. All right, let's take a look at the forecast before you
Head out for the weekend. I'll finish your sentence for you. Sunshine, low 80s this afternoon. Cool in the morning, Saturday and Sunday. Nice in the afternoon with low 80s. Now, again, I'll tell you, it's going to warm up next week, even back to the upper 80s by Wednesday and Thursday, which is the first day of fall. I know, it's getting hot again for the first day of fall. But the humidity will behave and stay at bay, so it's still pretty comfortable to be outside, even heading into next weekend, and still a 7-day forecast with no rain.
Yay.
All right.
And the first day of fall, ironically, I don't know if that's the right word, but coincidentally, is the warmest that we would have been in the last 10 plus days.
You know, live to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us on After GMS. We hope you get out there, enjoy this fabulous day and weekend of weather, and we will see you next time.
Have a good weekend.
And welcome to the Good Morning Show at 9 a.m. First day out. We got the band back together.
Yes, we are a band, aren't we?
Not bad, not bad.
We are so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
You could probably write a song about our forecast today. It is looking really good.
What would the lyrics say?
I want it fall way. I want it cooler way.
I just got the toss the weather in my ear.
Like our backstreet music.
We have low humidity. Morning lows will be in the upper 50s and afternoon highs in the low 80s.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Meanwhile, I was just like hanging out, stretched
So
out.
this-
here on the
Demonstrating the low humidity.
table. Embrace it.
Well, good Sunday morning.
Into that.
I'm going backwards now.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Please.
An animal shelter in Nashville had the clever idea of naming a litter of puppies after the 90s boy band, the Backstreet Boys. The shelter says the experience ended up being larger than life. Sorry.
That was brilliant. That was brilliant. Back at home, a noise complaint, not from Tracy McCain, led to Greensboro police.
I mean, but who is taking 400 pictures a day?
Okay,
A day.
so I looked that up. I think it was a typo. It's a year. according to
Okay.
which makes a lot more sense. It's still
So
a lot.
much more
Yeah.
sense.
You know, my dinosaur phone here, there's no way this thing would take 400 pictures and be able to save them. I'm lucky to save 4.
I know, you still got to go get them developed.
I see it.
Oh,
It takes a
Christian.
little time. That was a good one.
was-
I'll give you credit for that. That
big
was a
dig.
good one.
He
Gotta
brought
bring
it
his
up this
roll
time.
I did.
He brought it up this
I
time.
brought it up. My fault.